Good afternoon, all of you. Good afternoon. I think we started a bit late, but I'm hoping the same energy will still prevail in this room. And listening to Amit, I think I wish every customer of mine have a CFO like Amit, who can kind of see the intangible benefits of every rollout any software service provider can make. I think it's wonderfully put by Amit that the impact of any rollout, it will be experienced maybe sometime late in the journey, but it's very important to make that decision. Most of the stakeholders normally we meet, I mean the chief operating officers, business heads, where we go and present something to them. They like the offering, maybe the best platform of Gen AI or whatever it is. They say, we love you. You have the best platform. But this marriage is not possible because our CFO says that we don't have budgets for this. I mean, that's one of the reasons I was very keen to attend this meeting, and we also sponsoring this meet, is because CFOs like you, when we deal with you, decisions are instant because you know the value of what is required, what is being provided, and at least we don't hear this comment that, our CFOs are not approving the budgets. So thank you again. Thank you very much, DNB, for providing me this opportunity. And I'm really delighted being amongst all of you. I'm not going to kind of talk anything theoretical here because you're all experts. I just want to cover a few things and that I thought, it's like based on research, that I thought a summary of them, a compendium of them would make some meaning for all of you, right? So I come from a technology background. I used to work for a lot of technology companies, HCL, Oracle. And one thing that teach you when you work for technology companies is a good technology, which is called cut and paste technology. I hope all of you know what is cut and paste technology, right? So I have few slides that I will cover today using the cut and paste technology, but I thought that makes a lot of relevance to all of you. So it's been 10 years since I've been a CEO. I've taken over CEO's role in 2015, and since then I'm kind of holding this position. And when I kind of initially took over this role, I had a lot of hope, lot of hype in my own mind that the most powerful position I'm taking and I can dictate terms now. But I think I had a couple of conversations with our CFO, and immediately I realized that who is powerful in the organization. It's definitely not the CEO. You guys are the ones who call the shots. And then I also kind of related it to what research I did. This statement is from one of an American university, famous university. What they say is, in an org structure, CEO's position is a figurative head. What matters is CFO. And in a lot of organizations globally, I think you guys draw more than CEOs. That's how powerful you're all. So, so fantastic to kind of know this and also kind of make a pitch to all of you in this forum. So in the modern day CFOs, I think a lot of you have already spoken in the panel discussion and in the keynote speeches. I think one of the important things is the changing role of CFO, right? So it's no more a simple fiduciary position. It's more about someone who can drive or enable business transformations. No CEOs, no function heads can do anything without the support of CFO's insights. I think that shift in terms of what a traditional CFO used to be and what he is today, I think it's a kind of, none of you would have even realized, but you all are practicing that in today, right? And I saw the importance of data, digital, diligence. I think everything is getting embedded into digital transformation, and all of you are the ones who are now powering the business transformations, right? I mean, we at Writer, I think I heard Avinash saying, calling us still PN Writer, right? How many of you know us, by the way? Show of hands. That's a good number, and thank you so much. So we have been traditionally known, we are a group with 75 years legacy, right? So we have been traditionally known for records management, the physical records management. And that's why Avinash also was calling us as PN writers. But we are no more a simple records management company, and today our records business contributes only 40% of our revenue, 60% comes from other businesses. And that's a business transformation we did over the last 8-9 years, where we added a lot more services to our portfolio. And I'm proud to say this, the biggest pillar we had in terms of ensuring this transformation was our CFO, right? So CFOs have got large role to play in terms of how organizations grow now. And I have a practical example in my own organization where our CFO is not just a bookkeeper, but he is the trigger for our digital and business transformations. And kudos to all of you. I think every one of you is playing this role in your respective organizations. So then the question comes, how important is the digital transformation? And the answer is obvious, right? All of you know, and everyone in the organization will definitely say digital transformation is a given. Right, whatever we do, starting from a ERP rollout to, if you are bank, core banking rollout, if you are an NBFC, LMS rollout, whatever it is, right, digital transformation is a given for all of us. There's no questions, there are no ifs and buts about that. But how many of us actually know what do we mean by digital transformation? Because digital transformation is not something that can be concluded in a meeting. The agenda cannot be written, in few meetings, right? Digital transformation is something that has to be well thought about, and each enterprise will have different ways and means and different needs to kind of define what digital transformation means for them. And it's really important that you have a very custom digital transformation. Normally, I mean, even my experience, whenever we want to take up a digital transformation, the first thing that we do is we invite big fours, right? Maybe Deloitte, KPMG, Boston Consulting Group, and they come with a lot of templates, right? That's their strength. You will have the best in class templates that they come and kind of try to do a consulting exercise for you, and huge bill also would be given to us. But at the end of the day, what they recommend, I don't think any one of us can simply roll that out, because that is templatized, and digital transformation strategy is very specific to each of your enterprises in your own circumstances, in your limitations, constraints that you live in. So while we can always leverage the big four in terms of what their expertise is, but it's also important for each one of you to kind of to customize it to your needs. Therefore, digital transformation has to be the agenda for digital transformation has to be a combined effort of business, finance, technology. All of you have to come together and then kind of formulate what the digital transformation is. And this is a recent survey done by ET, right? ET Economic Times. And when this question was posed, what is the single most change that you would expect as an outcome of digital transformation? I think, while we spoke digital data, other things today, but if you still see the most important outcome, almost 60% of the people spoke about the authenticity and single source of data, and second was on the compliance. Right? Whatever transformation do, and this should be at the back of our mind, what we want to achieve. We want to achieve as a key outcome a secure data, a secure source of data, and also 100% compliance. And unless digital transformation helps us in achieving these two, whatever we do, we will never be able to give the results, right? Talking about the success of digital transformations, right? This is again a Deloitte study. I said I'm expert in cut and paste technology, so I'm trying to get the every data point wherever it is relevant for us. Deloitte study says 70% of transformations, not just in finance, but generally digital transformations, fail to yield the desired results. And this is a very important input. Why? Why does it happen? When I was coming to this session, I asked my CFO, we recently rolled out SAP RISE. We were on Sun Microsystems and then we moved to SAP RISE. I mean, according to me, the only thing that risen in SAP RISE is the cost. But I don't know the tangible benefits SAP RISE is giving to us. I mean, that apart, when I asked him what are the challenges that you faced as a CFO when you're rolling out SAP RISE, I mean, atypical of him, he sent me at least a 5-page note in terms of what all the challenges he had in terms of rolling out SAP RISE. I mean, I took some time because this is the first time he's talking so much about what is the kind of pain he has gone through in upgrading the ERP. And I kind of looked at all that and tried to summarize them. I found 3 reasons. Reason number 1, most of the decisions for finance transformation were taken by people who were non-finance. Generally the CIO and team, we have group CIOs, we have a big setup. These guys all have come together and they had that matrix in terms of decision making, right? You evaluate, parameterize, you put some scores and eventually you get a score and they said SAP RISE is the right thing for you, you roll it out. And what is the qualification of these guys? Most of these guys would have done a course, right? I mean, you all know, right? Finance for non-finance executives. That's the course these guys have done, and they are the ones who kind of pushed a decision that this is what is right for you. And resultant of that is at least 2 pages of challenges that our finance team faced. And the second most root cause, if I have to say that, was that our finance teams generally, and I'm sure all of you and your teams, are very subtle, gentle, right? But they respect the so-called IT guys, IT consultants. And when this entire program was happening, one of the highlights that our CFO told me that he never got to see screens. Screen, I mean the UI of the application. Almost till 6 months into the program, everything was on paper being discussed. This is the process flow, this is the workflow, this is what you want, this is your current process, this is a to-be process. But he could never ever be able to see any UI as to how that will look like. Not only him, his team. So I think sometimes maybe it is important that any one of you taking up digital transformation for your departments, it's also important perhaps to kind of take a product walkthrough to understand, right? Every version of ERP, even if you would have done in your previous organizations, are different for in different quarters. They get new releases every quarter, right? So it's important, therefore, perhaps to be more strict and more demanding right at the beginning of the rollout so that you don't get surprises. And in our case, I think what our friend was telling me was that he got surprises post the UAT, right? So that's a kind of a big challenge. So I think it's important. I would say that finance teams should be more demanding right at the beginning. And then the last point, which I feel is like digital transformation is not just about ERP, right? It is much beyond ERP. How do we integrate the entire ecosystem? How much automation we achieve? How much ERP is definitely a huge data repository, but what kind of insights you can generate out of that? What insights we actually need? And how much of analytics that you can build on top of this, and how well those can be automated? These things do define how many outcomes you can generate and how much success you can achieve out of digital transformation. So, so I think again, I don't want to go into the details of this, but the journey from traditional finance to an intelligent finance, right? When that's the need of the hour, I think there are 5 core areas, right? We all know process technology people. This is a given, right? I mean, since ages we have been hearing about process technology people. But now there are 2 more areas. One which we all spoke about today, which is data, and the other one is domain, right? We also need to make sure that there is a techno-driven domain that keeps upgrading itself in each of our finance departments, right? So that's when the movement from a traditional finance to an intelligent finance over a period of time, right, over a 2 to 3 generation move can happen, and that would really make organizations much more effective, and you all will not just be bookkeepers but much beyond that. Right, I mean, again, this is again out of my experience. When we want to really measure what is the success of a digital transformation, what are those tangible parameters we should measure against? I think we found these 6. One is the level of automation, right? When we roll out an ERP or whichever the core system, how much integrated it is, how much automation we achieved. That's number 1 measure, right? I mean, it is a simple statistic, right? If I have 10 applications in my ecosystem and the core system is a ERP, so I need to have at least 10 into 20 interfaces. If I have all those 20 interfaces, if I have, I think you can check that box. And the second most important is how many spreadsheets still I use, right? If you come to 0, nothing like that. That's what the automation means. But honestly, you can give a show of hands. How many of you still use spreadsheets? All of you, right? So that's the second most important parameter of how much automation, how much transformation we achieved. Budgeting process, right? So today we know, right? I mean, sometimes, it's my personal experience again, sometimes if my CFO is in good mood, he says, okay, don't worry, it's part of the budget, we'll handle it. Sometimes he says, no, there's no budget for this. I mean, how do we streamline this budgeting process using the transformation, right? Everything should be in thick and thin, right? I mean, everything should be hard-coded in the whatever systems that we follow, so that we don't need to refer it to anyone, we know what actually our budgets are. And we actually know how much we are spending against the budgets. And the 4th important thing is the forecast, which we struggle. We always get reports, irrespective of how much money we spend on all the transformation. We never get, we only get historical reports, right? We only do postmortem. We don't get reports to preempt issues and kind of take remedial action, right? So how much automation we have achieved and how much we are able to get rolling forecast, right? And closing and reporting. I mean, despite all what we do, still our closing takes at least, in the best case scenario, it takes 15 days. And why should it take so much? Why can't it be an automated process? And how will you measure the success of your digital transformation? Is perhaps at the click of a button if you are able to automatically close your books. And finally, what we spoke about, data and insights, right? And there are a lot of tools that are available, but those tools are simply remain tools till such time that you actually tell us what you want. And that need, that the requirement can keep changing, but at least as function heads, as finance heads, if you're clear in terms of what we want and how much we have to get from the repository of data we have, I think that will definitely tell you how much digital transformation you actually achieved. And finally, I'm just talking about the ERP, as I said, a host of things, right, that could limit the efficiency of a digital transformation centered around ERP. I think the primary thing is the price, right? I mean, you can acquire SAP licenses or you can acquire Oracle licenses, but when it comes to changing any of that, you have to spend a bomb. And how many times you have to change, you will even not know, right? I mean, as things change, as regulation change, as the needs change, as the business grows, every day, every month, you will keep having change requests. So companies like us come in, right? Writer, as I said, we are no more a just records company. We are into BPO business, we are into cloud, we are into software solutions. So we come in to help you out to make your life easy by building peripheral applications around ERPs, so that at the click of a button, at the least possible spend, you can actually get more than what you want. So we have a platform called BPaaS, Business Process Service. And the most important, I'm not going to the details, I don't want to bore you guys, but it's a nice platform which can work in and around SAP. But one important feature of that is we completely do it on a transaction-based pricing, right? We don't charge you upfront a capex or a monthly recurring, nothing. Only number of transactions you have, so much is charged. And in terms of our capabilities, I think Everest is one of the consultant. We are listed top there among the top 20 service providers globally. So the other area, as I said, is analytics is something that we do a lot, and you would be glad any one of you interested to work with us. Our team is also here. We can interface with you and we can see how we can help you in terms of giving you best-in-class analytics. And finally, as I said, this is we, Writer. We are a group established in 1947. We in our records business, we are very proud to say that we touch every life of Indian. We have close to 800 files that we store in our facilities. We have a BPO of almost 8,000 plus seats, pan-India, serving 6,000 plus corporates across our portfolio. We have our own cloud, Intelix Cloud, and we also have our software solution suite, which I spoke about, BPaaS and the other things, right? So finally, this is what it is, right? I mean, this is John Chambers, Cisco, who quoted that, right? I mean, digital transformation is a must, and I don't have to emphasize it, all of you know that. So thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you very much for giving a patient hearing, and it's so nice to be amongst all of you. Thank you very much.